Hi guys, welcome to day 56 of Scout Lockdown. Today we're going to do some more first aid. We're going to talk about the recovery position. Have a go at home on a family member if you can. It's good to practice this and then it will go towards your first aid stage badge. Have a go if you can. Hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. So today we're going to talk about the recovery position. So here is Spider Cub. He's being our patient. So before we do the recovery position, we need to rewind to finding them. So I've come along and I found Spider Cub lying on the floor. Now the first thing we should do, and the first rule of first aid, is always check for danger to yourself. So I need to check for danger to myself. Now we're in a garden, so there's not a lot of dangers out here. Nothing seems to be out of place, so he may have tripped. But if you're in a house, then maybe there's other things. So maybe there's water on the floor, maybe there's electric sparking, maybe it looks like the place has been broken into and the burglar could still be in sight. So you need to look around. If you're in the middle of the road, then obviously there's traffic. So you can't put yourself into danger. So make sure you check and make sure that you're safe before you do anything else. So next thing we want to do is we want to check that he's okay or not, because he may just be lying down sunbathing, having a little nap. Some people lie down in the strangest places, not usually in the middle of the road, but you never know. So, Spider Cub, you alright? Hello?
No.
Okay, so he's responding, so he sounds like he's alright. But let's pretend he's not responding. Spider Cub, are you okay? Spider Cub? Okay, he's not responding now, so let's assume that he's needs a little bit of help. So I'm going to go a bit closer, still checking for danger to make sure I'm safe. I'm going to kneel down next to him, and now I'm going to just make sure that he's definitely not sleeping. So I'm just going to give him a little, hello, Spider Cub, you okay? Okay, so he's still not responding. So I may pinch the ear. I'm not actually going to pinch the ear to hurt him, but you may pinch the ear just to make sure that okay, he's definitely not responding. So the reason I pinch the ear is that actually hurts. I don't pinch it very hard. So if they are awake, that may wake them up. And don't startle them. And always talk to them and make sure that they know what you're doing. So I'm just going to pinch your ear. Okay, he's still not responding. So we're going to have to now check his breathing. So we're going to lift him up and open his mouth slightly, and then I'm going to put my cheek near his mouth and nose. And the reason for that is I'm going to use my sensors here, I'm going to feel his breath on my cheek. I'm going to look down his chest to see if his belly's going up and down. So I'm going to use my sight. I'm going to use my ear to see if I can hear any breathing. Okay, so he's definitely breathing, so that's a good sign. So, now I'm going to just check him over to make sure there's no other injuries. There doesn't seem to be any pools of anything or blood, so I'm just going to check his head. I'm going to check my hands to see if there's any blood on there. And as I go down, I'm going to loosen anything that is maybe restricting things. So his scarf, I'm going to loosen, take the wobble off. Check this arm, nothing there, it's the other arm, nothing there, gently down, nothing there. Gonna check his pockets, not gonna rob him, just gonna check his ID. Okay, no ID. If he's got anything in his pockets though, obviously have a look, check if there's any ID in there. And anything you take off, woggle, glasses, woggle, just put in his hand so he knows it's there. I'm just putting your belongings in your hand, and that way he knows they're there, and when someone comes to rescue you, the ambulance or anything else, they know it's all there as well. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it down. Okay, so there's nothing else physically that I can see or feel which is wrong with him. So we're also going to check for any SOS bracelet or emergency bracelet or watch. he hasn't got any. And the reason we're going to check for those is it may give us the instructions of what's happening, the instructions of what to do. It may help us inform the ambulance of why they may be on the floor. So that's important to check for. He hasn't got one. So we're going to move into the recovery position. So we're going to make the patient recover. Now we know what's wrong. If there's anybody else with you, you can now tell them to go phone the ambulance. Okay? So if we rewind a bit to the start, you wouldn't call for an ambulance or anything now while he's on the floor because you don't know anything else. When we came closer and we checked him to make, and he wasn't responding, you can always shout for help there. So he's not responding, help, help, okay? And then check him over. But we still don't call for an ambulance yet because we still don't actually know what's wrong. Then we did our check. And then we patted them down, we checked for bracelets. Again, if there's someone here, you can now go get help. But we need to make the patients comfortable. So if there's no one around with you now, still just me and Spider Cup, we have to make him safe. So we're going to move the arm over here. Now it's important you don't step over the patient, so we never step over the patient or anything like that. You always work on the side you are. So, and I've already put the bits on this side in his hand, and I'm on this side. So I'm going to use this hand, I'm going to put it over here. We're then going to scoop the leg up from underneath the leg, and it will come up naturally and bend naturally. Then using the leg as a lever and placing the arm there. If you've got someone to help you, then they can hold the head. But you should just be able to pull with the leg, using a lever, and he will roll over. Then move the leg into like a running man position so he doesn't roll back, and lift the head up and open the mouth to keep the airway clear and breathing. Now he's safe. If you're on your own, now is the time to go and get help because he is safe. If it's not, if you're not on your own, then go get help as fast as you can. But the reason we wait, so just before we do the recovery position, to phone an ambulance, or once we've done the recovery position if we're on our own, is we need to know what's wrong with them. They may just be sleeping, so we need to assess them first. So once we've patted them down, we will know that they're breathing, because we've checked it. We will know that there's no signs of blood or any other traumas around the body. So we can then go and tell the ambulance what we need to know. So we can now go and say, he's breathing, there's no signs of obvious injuries, we need an ambulance, he's not responding. And it's important to use the words he's not responding. We know he's a cub, so we know he's roughly between 8 and 10 years old. We know he's a male. It is also important to tell the ambulance your location from where you are. If you are sending someone else to go and get help, so if you're asking someone to phone an ambulance for you, ask them and make sure they come back and tell you they've phoned the ambulance. Because you may say, phone the ambulance, and I'll be like, okay, but I fancy some chips, we'll go to chip shop. And they may not actually phone the ambulance, or they may not give the wrong information. You don't actually know where they've gone. So please make sure if you're asking someone else to phone the ambulance for you, that you ask them to come back and tell you that they phoned the ambulance. They may be able to help also while you stay with the patient, but they can help flag the ambulance down and everything else. But even if they can't do that, they can at least come back and say, I've done that. Hopefully they've got a mobile phone on you, so they can do it by their mobile phone while you're there. So you can call 999, which is the emergency number, or 112, which is another one which works for mobiles and other phones. So that's 999 or 112, which will both connect you to the emergency services. We'll do the recovery position again. Spinal cup, roll back over. So from the top, we check to make sure that we're safe and we're not in danger. We'll kneel down beside the patient and we'll carry on talking. So spinal cup, I'm just going to pat you down. Before I do that though, I'm just going to make sure you're breathing. You're breathing, good. You're not responding. I'm just going to pat you down to make sure there's no other injuries. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to take your wallet out of your pocket and put that in your hand. There's no ID in that, so but I know you're spinal cup. I'm just going to check for an SOS bracelet or necklace. Okay. Spinal cup, I'm just going to move you into the recovery position. So I'm going to lift your hand up, I'm going to put it by your cheek, and I'm just going to lift your leg up. Put it there, and I'm going to just roll you towards me, okay? I'm going to move your leg to make the running man position, and I'm going to lift your head up and just open your airway there. I'm just going to go and get some help. I'll be right back. If you've got a mobile phone, you would now call the ambulance and give them all the information. And should he stop breathing, or you can, the great thing about the recovery position is you can gently roll him back onto his back and then start CPR, which we're not going to cover today. The other good thing about the recovery position is if he's sick, he's going to throw it outwards and not swallow it again. Move the arm out. Move this arm to the cheek. Scoop up under the leg. Roll towards you. Make the running man. Lift the head so the airway's clear. That's the recovery position. I hope you can see that through the camera. Thank you for watching.